Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. This is a show where we talk about movies, comic books, TV, sci-fi, fantasy. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. I am your host, returning after a long hiatus, Mr. Sean McGahee, and with me is Miss Lisa Locke McGahee, the mistress herself. Hello.
Hello.
Alright guys, well we have gone on a long break. We took a trip up to the Great North to see family and friends. Trekked thousands of miles and have returned once again to bring you some great content. Seems a little odd coming back after 3 weeks of not doing a show. Just because ever since I started the podcast back in October, it's the first time at all that I skipped a week. So it seems a little odd, but we're back. We missed a couple things along the way. Of course, Game of Thrones had their season finale. A couple of movies came out that I guess we don't really need to talk about, considering a lot of people didn't like Independence Day or Tarzan. So we'll just skip those for now and move on. But there is a movie I do want to talk about. Last week was the official 10-year anniversary of the film Superman Returns, directed by Bryan Singer. And since a lot of people have been looking back at this film, they have been kind of trash talking it, so to speak. Me, however, I like Superman Returns. I unapologetically like it. It's one of those rare movies that everyone, seems to not like, but I really liked it. And I just want to take a couple of minutes and maybe compare it to the next Superman film we got, which was Man of Steel. And in my eyes, there's no comparing. Superman Returns was a much better film. I had more character development. Yes, it was a smaller film with less action, which I know that's what people didn't like about it. But if you go back and say you like the original Superman Christopher Reeves film, but you didn't like Superman Returns, you're a hypocrite. Because Superman the movie with Christopher Reeves also didn't have a lot of action. Like, the most action you did in that movie was spin around the world and take care of some rockets. He really didn't fight anybody, didn't have a lot of action. So if you say you like one, you can't say you don't like the other, at least in my opinion. But Superman Returns, like I said, had really a lot of good character development, smaller story, just overall, versus Man of Steel, I thought was just a big mess. Of course, it was a Zack Snyder film, so that goes without saying. But I'm curious to see what you think about, because I know you're not a fan of really either films, Lisa. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is the better film?
I mean, there's things I like about both films, and there's things I don't like about both films. I mean, neither one is a movie that if I was just sitting around and I wanted to watch a movie that I would pop in. Mm-hmm. But I don't dislike either of them.
Okay.
I didn't dislike Man of Steel as much as you did, but I don't like Superman Returns as much as you did. I think the characters in Superman Returns are kind of weird.
What do you mean weird?
I wasn't a huge fan of the Kevin Spacey Lex. I thought that his crew was kind of weird. Parker Posey was kind of annoying.
I think it was. I think Kevin Spacey as Lex, but yeah, his henchmen aren't really the best. I'll give you that.
His henchmen were stupid. I didn't really like the whole plot where he had to schmooze that old lady to get money. What was in her boat or something? What was that about?
She was rich and she had a boat.
Yeah, but Lex Luthor is supposed to be rich and he could buy
he went in jail. No, because they're going off the continuity of... Because remember, this movie was supposed to be Superman 3, which comes off of the original Donner film, Superman 1 and Superman 2. So at the end of Superman 2, Lex is in jail, and then he's been in jail this whole time, where he comes out of jail for Superman Returns.
Right, but going to jail doesn't mean you don't have any money anymore.
Doesn't that mean they take away your money? Or
no.
He really didn't have any money, though. And if you look back at the original...
Well, I didn't see Superman 2.
The Superman... No, just the original Superman, Christopher Reeves. He was living underground, actually. And he wasn't living in a mansion. He didn't own any LexCorp or businesses or stuff like that. So, in that continuity, he really didn't have any money.
Well, whatever. I didn't like it. I don't like the way they did Lex in that movie. I liked Brandon Routh as Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also wasn't a huge fan of what's her face, Bosworth.
Kate Bosworth
as Lois Lane.
A lot of people have criticized that,
but I didn't love it.
A lot of people criticize it being that's not Lois Lane. And I'm just like, okay, I get where you're coming from, people, but let's look at it from this perspective: is that she has a 5-year-old son. Okay. Yeah, she's not Lois Lane because this Lois Lane has a kid, which you and I know having a kid changes.
I'm not saying anything about
I'm just saying what people
Lois.
have said about the film. That's not Lois Lane. No, it's not Lois Lane. This is Lois Lane, the parent.
Yeah, no, I just didn't like. one of my biggest problems with Superman Returns is I did not have an emotional involvement with the cast.
And I think that had to do maybe with the fact that, again, you didn't see the original Superman or Superman 2, which this movie played off of. And really, the whole film is really just an homage to the original Donner film.
Well, that's also what I didn't like about it either. It was like set in the present day, but they were like kind of sort of dressed like they were in the 50s. Like
that's always been Superman, though.
The style... You're like totally trying to like make everything I'm saying not matter.
I'm not trying to make it matter. I'm defending it. I
Want
guess.
my opinion?
I do want your opinion. I'm just saying, giving you reasons for your to counteract your critiques.
Well, I didn't like that it was set in the present day, but they were dressed like they were in the 50s. It was like a movie. It was out of time. It didn't make any sense to me.
What?
They had like modern day technology, but they were dressed like it was the 50s. That was weird. Like Kate Bosworth's outfits, the thing that it was weird. I just didn't like it. It didn't work for me.
I could counteract that, but I won't.
How could you counter what?
What? She dressed like a professional businesswoman?
No, it wasn't just her. No, that is not what it was.
They dressed in the men dressed in suits.
No,
like they would if they were going to a professional environment.
Posey wore, the whole thing. It was just out. It didn't make any sense. It's not. They were not just. It wasn't because they were dressed as business people.
Yes, it was. How do they dress differently today compared to how they dressed in that movie? Huh? If you worked at a major metropolitan newspaper, how would you dress?
Not like they do.
Not in professional suits and attire?
No, I'm not saying the guys wouldn't wear suits. I'm talking about the women.
What?
You don't know because you know anything about fashion. I'm telling you, it was weird.
I work in fashion.
Women fashion? You work in women fashion.
Men's fashion, but I see women's fashion.
Okay, I feel like this conversation is getting very not productive anymore because you're not letting me say my opinion. You're just trying to tell me that I'm wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Let's just move on.
I'm just trying to change your opinion.
Well, it's not going to work because I think it's weird.
Okay.
I did not have any kind of attachment to the characters.
All right.
That's why I disliked that film.
Let's take it down a notch, okay? All right. So... versus Man of Steel then. Man of Steel, of course, I did not like. And from the moment Zack Snyder was attached to this film, I knew it was in trouble and it was not going to be a good Superman film. And as much as I hoped it was going to be good, for me it just wasn't. But it's not to say it's not without its qualities. I like Henry Cavill. I like Amy Adams. They were both really good. I like the Superman suit. I like the flying, the updated technology to help enhance his powers. That was all fine. It's just, for me, it's story issues, of course. My number one issues being the handling of Jonathan Kent and the handling of Zod. Those things were just not good at all for me. What do you think? I mean, I know as far as that goes, comparing it to what did you like about Man of Steel that maybe Superman Returns didn't do?
The biggest thing I like better about Man of Steel than Superman Returns is the characters. I really felt... I liked the casting better. I liked the way that the characters were portrayed better. Except for John. No, I actually did. I didn't mind. I hate Russell Crowe. You know I hate Russell Crowe movies. But I didn't hate... I think he fit. He fit in that one. I thought that they had... I think they did a really good job getting you emotionally involved right at the beginning, watching, his mom have to send him away. Like, I thought everything they did on...
You got emotional about that.
Yeah, I think fuck yeah. I mean, he should have sent away her baby. Like, movies that can get you hooked emotionally right from the beginning, I think that was a good move.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And I felt like I was emotionally involved in the relationships. I did not like Jonathan Kent. I didn't like how they... I liked him until the way that they killed him. I thought it was stupid.
To be fair, okay, see, my issue is, of course, reading all these Superman comics and all that stuff. I have an idea of what Jonathan Kent is and what he should be, and he wasn't the Jonathan Kent that I know. And I think maybe from your perspective, too, you went through many years of Jonathan Kent on Smallville, and, he was different from that as well, too.
Right, so I didn't like what they did with Jonathan Kent, but I liked all the other characters. And then I didn't necessarily dislike how they handled Zod. I just don't think Zod should have been the villain.
Exactly, I agree with that.
I think what the movie did with him is what had to be done. That was the only way to end it, to do that, to have that play out.
Okay.
I just don't think that they should have started with Zod.
Yeah, exactly. I think he should have been like a second film or sequel character.
Yeah.
The thing they should have done is, like I said, start off smaller and then work their way up to Zod. And again, my thing is when he... spoiler alert, snapped Zod's neck, that he was crying about it or felt really bad about it. I didn't get the feeling that he really felt that bad about it because I don't know what his moral compass was at that point. We should have at least, had one film to establish his code of conduct before, he goes and breaks it. in my opinion.
Overall, I like Man of Steel better.
Exactly, and I like Henry Cavill. The same thing with Batman v Superman, which I have yet to see the Ultimate Edition. I'm really hoping to see it soon because I heard it's actually better than the theatrical cut, which you can't get much worse. So here's hope. But yeah, I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I hope he can continue to be Superman for many, many years. But Superman Returns, I defend this movie so much because people criticize that, I guess.
The plot was really silly, too, in Superman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the heck was Lex trying to build?
Well,
that island thing didn't make any sense.
Okay, again.
The plot is just, you can defend it all you want. I think it was a weird movie.
Just give it again. It's building off of, the previous Superman film. In the first Superman film, Lex tried to create a nuclear blast to wipe out California to where all the property he owned in the desert would then become beachfront property and valuable.
So here's the thing, though: for a movie to be successful, you shouldn't have to have watched previous unrelated films to get it. But here's
the thing: he was trying to do the exact same thing with. I mean, there was two things in this was. He was trying to do that. He was trying to create an island where he could own and become rich and whatever, make property, so to speak. But also it was made out of kryptonite, so it was a place where Superman can't touch him as well. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of twofold on that. But I'll agree with you. You shouldn't have to watch the previous film. But again, it was like a third film, and it was following the traits of Lex Luthor in the Christopher Reeve / Richard Donner films.
But it wasn't a Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner film. So I'm just saying, if it's supposed to be a freestanding film, it should have made sense on its own, and it didn't.
All right, I'll agree with that, and maybe that's another reason why it failed. I'll give you that. But me, as a guy who loves Superman, loved the Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner films, I really liked it. So let's move on to our first official topic. Hopefully it'll go a little more smoother from now on. Hopefully, okay? All right, so last week, early in the week, Paramount Pictures released a third and hopefully final trailer for the brand new film Star Trek Beyond. And in this sequel, they also featured a new song by Rihanna titled Sledgehammer. And that film is actually going to be on the soundtrack for the movie.
That song.
Yes, I said song.
You said that film.
Okay, there you go. Anyway, now one thing that also happened online in the Star Trek online website was there was a blog post that kind of gave the first official name for this new timeline that we are in that started with 2009 Star Trek and then continued in Star Trek Into Darkness and now Star Trek Beyond. Now, before, fans have called it names like the Abrams verse or JJ verse, but they officially named it the Kelvin Timeline. Now, the timeline is named after the Federation starship, the USS Kelvin, the ship that was destroyed by the arrival of the Romulan ship from the far future in the opening of 2009 Star Trek, because everything from that point has changed history. Now, I'm going to let you go first on this.
Okay.
So, first off, I think the trailer is going to be more talked about. So, what do you think about them officially naming this Star Trek timeline?
Calling it Kelvin?
Yeah.
You mean the
Kelvin timeline.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Okay.
I think it makes sense. It fits. I mean, I didn't realize we needed to have a name for this timeline, but that name is appropriate, I think.
It's like an alternate reality because in, like the Flash or the DC universe, you have Earth 1, Earth 2, Flashpoint. You got to name these different timelines to separate them a little bit. So this is, again, lets you know that it's separate from the Star Trek timeline that we know.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
So then you just watched the trailer. I just had you watch the new trailer. What'd you think of that?
I liked it better than the other two.
Really?
Mm-hmm, I did. I mean, I don't have any idea what's happening. None of the trailers have really gotten me excited for this yet. But I think that's just because it looks like really bad things happen, and I don't like when bad things happen.
You hate the drama. Yes, you do.
I don't hate drama.
You never watch.
I do hate drama.
You hate drama.
I don't like when I know bad things are happening. This one looks like a lot of bad things happening.
Yes.
So I'm not very excited for it. I like the song in the trailer better, but that's mostly because I don't like the songs that they usually use. I don't like the Beastie Boys.
You don't like the Beastie Boys song, yeah.
So those songs for me, were never really, they never really got me involved. I thought the tone of this song fit the trailer. I mean, this trailer, it was almost like a teaser. It really wasn't like a final trailer. But I like that because I think trailers lately give too much away.
I agree with that, yeah.
So I thought it didn't get me to want to see it more than I already wanted to see it because I only kind of sort of want to see it. I mean, I will, but,
okay.
you know.
How do you feel about them? Because I looked for him in the trailer was Chekhov. Yeah, Anton.
They didn't have him in the trailer.
They didn't have him in the trailer. I felt like they did that kind of out of respect as well because it's so soon since his passing. But then again, I felt like maybe they should have just a little bit because I think I saw him maybe in the background and that was it in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they surely did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. But, okay, so for me, going back to the naming of the Kelvin timeline, I'm actually pretty big fan of this because growing up, of course, my dad is a Trekkie. He loves Star Trek. He also loves Star Wars as well. But growing up, I'd seen the films because of him, and I casually watched all the TV series because Sunday night he would watch them, so I'd be in the living room and doing something else, and I'd take a peek at it, but I never really got into it. And as I got older, being a Star Wars fan, I thought Star Trek was boring and a little lame. But
which it was.
Which it was, I guess you could say. But growing up, I've learned to appreciate it more and have tried to, get into it. And I still can't. I watched 2 or 3 episodes of Next Generation, which I think is the best Star Trek series. And even then, I can't be like, okay, I'm done. I can't watch anymore. So Star Trek, I can't really say I'm a fan of. However, the 2009 Star Trek movie, great movie. I love that movie. Star Trek Into Darkness, I really liked, although Star Trek fans hate that movie. Like, longtime Star Trek fans, I've heard despise that film for several reasons. But me, I liked it. And then I also like the current ongoing comic book series by Mark Johnson. What is it? IDW Publishing is doing. I've read all those, and I like those as well. So now I like it because now it gives a name for my fandom of Star Trek. I'm not a Star Trek fan. I'm a Kelvin timeline fan.
Okay.
I mean, it makes things clearer for me. Where it'd be like, oh, do you like Star Trek? I'm like, no, I don't really like Star Trek, but I like the Kelvin timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of separates a little bit. Mm-hmm. Of course. So going back to the trailer, I was not a fan of the first one because while I think using the Beastie Boys was fine because they've been featured in the 2 other previous Star Trek films, I didn't think it belonged in a Star Trek trailer. The second one was my favorite so far because it got more character development. You kind of had that in-depth as to what Kirk's journey is going to be in this film. And then the third trailer, again, they brought it back to more pop song, which that's kind of the problem for me is I don't mind. Like I said, I'm not a longtime Star Trek fan. If I was a longtime Star Trek fan, I'd be super pissed about these trailers because they don't feel like Star Trek. And I know that's kind of the whole point of what Paramount's trying to do with this current rendition of the Kelvin timeline because they're trying to make it more accessible to the general audience, not just uber nerds who love Star Trek and have been for so many years.
Right, because they want to make money.
Exactly. They want to make money. They want to make a successful franchise. And I get it. But to me, this is kind of leaning too far over that edge. I think that second trailer was fine because you still saw the action. You still saw, the story. But it didn't have the pop song. It just had like regular, score trailer music to it, which I thought represented the film, or what I hope represents the film, fine. Now let's remember, J.J. Abrams, he's producing this film, but he's not directing it. Instead, we got Justin Lin, director of Fast and Furious. That alone is enough to get me worried for the film, because while I think the Fast and Furious movies have been entertaining, they're not exactly full of depth and thought-provoking entertainment, if you get what I'm saying. So for me, that kind of scares me a little bit. We'll just have to wait and see. Again, I don't want to have high hope. I want to have high hopes for this film, but I don't have them right now. Just based off I'm hoping everything they're doing, all the marketing they're doing for this film, doesn't really represent what the film's going to be, in my hopes, at least. So, but yeah. But that's cool. But we'll just have to wait and see. It comes out July 22nd, I believe, 25th, sometime at the end of the month. Either way, it'll be cool. We'll just wait. All right, so jumping over to a little segment that we used to have here, but we haven't had for a while. Let's talk some Star Wars. I haven't talked about Star Wars in a while.
No, I haven't.
Because we used to talk about it all the time because The Force Awakens is coming out.
There hasn't been much talk about.
And there's been that little lull, and then Rogue One's coming up, so there's talk about that. Okay, so Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy spoke with Entertainment Weekly in regards to Rogue One, a Star Wars story that comes out in December. Now, one of the discussions they've been talking about is the patented opening crawl that has been synonymous with Star Wars. She said, quote, "The opening crawl and some of these elements live so specifically within the saga films that we are having a lot of discussion about what will define the standalone Star Wars stories and separate them from the saga films." So right now we're in the middle of talking about that. Now, the opening crawls has been, like I said, synonymous with Star Wars. Started all the way back in 1977 with the original Star Wars film and carried on through the newest film, The Force Awakens. Now this article that I read said it's been featured in all the Star Wars movies. But I will take this article and say it has not been in all the Star Wars movies. Which one was it not?
Was it not in the Clone Wars?
It was not in the Clone Wars, exactly. It's a that theatrical Clone Wars movie always gets forgotten about, which I'll understand. People don't like it, it wasn't high caliber, but then again, now there was some of the prequel films. But it still was a theatrical Star Wars film, so I think it's got to give it its due, in my opinion.
I don't think I've seen it since we saw it in theaters,
Which,
so I don't even remember.
But yet you're going through the Clone Wars, so since you have started with the movie before you started going through Clone Wars on Netflix?
I guess.
But you didn't, so, oh well.
I've been more wrapped up in the books.
I guess. Okay, so yeah, so there it is. So now the debate is, of course, the decision for the opening crawl. Do you think they need it in there because it's Star Wars, or do you think they should take the crawl out to separate it from the saga films, and it should only be part of the saga films or episodes?
I think it should not be there.
Okay.
I think it would help to separate it from the saga films.
I originally thought the same thing, but then I thought about Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and the Star Wars story films in general. These films are not in the continuity.
Right.
So they're not. This is not. Rogue One is not Episode 8. So there are a lot of people already that are kind of getting confused about what Rogue One is. Is it Episode 8? Where does it fall? Which, in my opinion, I feel like the trailer does a good job of letting you know where it falls. But then again, I'm giving the general audience too much credit. So to me, I feel like having an opening crawl to kind of describe where we're at in the Star Wars universe, as far as timeline-wise, I think would be a good idea.
I think as soon as Darth Vader is there, and I'm hoping that they bring him in pretty early on.
Again, I think you're giving people too much credit.
Well, I think that's going to be their mistake. They'll have to figure it out. I think it would help to separate it.
I mean, if you just watched the trailer they had for Rogue One Star Wars Stories, did you think you could really tell where it falls? I mean, you see the Death Star, but again, they had Death Stars in the first Star Wars movie and in Return of the Jedi. So it could be anywhere in there, really.
Either way, it's obviously not after The Force Awakens.
It's not after The Force Awakens, but then again, people are idiots. So...
Well, then you can't fix that. So.
I'm just saying, I feel like to make it so people aren't as lost, an opening crawl would be a good thing for that. But then again, of course, if you do that, again, what do you say? All of the Star Wars movies have had, Episode 1, Episode 3, Episode 6. What do you call this? 3.5? I think instead of I think you should just bring it up and say Rogue One.
Did the Clone Wars movie start like the episodes do, where it's like that voice that kind of gives you what's going on? So they had an opening crawl. It was technically an opening crawl, yes. Okay, so it's just like it is in the show where the guy's like, the war is brewing, and he goes on with
that was really loud.
That's how it is in the show.
It still had an introduction to set it up. Exactly.
Well, I think then they should have something to set it up, but not an opening crawl. I think the opening crawl should be...
I think a voiceover wouldn't be that...
Well, maybe not a voiceover. They're brilliant people there at Lucasfilm. I'm pretty sure they can figure something out.
I think they would. They need to do something to let people know where this falls in Star Wars canon. At least in some, whether it be a crawl, I don't think it should be a voiceover, but something to let the general audience know who isn't into Star Wars as we are, that, hey, this is not episode 8. This falls in between episode 3 and episode 4. See, at least I think so.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay. All right, so moving on, more Star Wars news. Going off a fan theory. Last week, Samuel L. Jackson did a Twitter Q&A, and he was answering a question in regards to the fate of his Star Wars character, Mace Windu, and Mr. Jackson said, quote, "In my mind, I'm not dead." Now, he went on to talk to Entertainment Weekly Radio and saying that he's actually had discussions with George Lucas himself in regards to the fate of Mace Windu, and even George said, "I'm okay with that. You can be alive." In other words, but of course, Samuel L. Jackson went on to remind everyone that George Lucas has no say over Star Wars now. He relinquished his title as head of Lucasfilm to Kathleen Kennedy. He had nothing to do with The Force Awakens and nothing to do with Star Wars moving forward. However, this is kind of a popular fan theory that is kind of making head with it. Mr. Jackson, in the interview, said, "Jedis can fall incredible heights and distances and not die." So that's his theory as to why he might still be alive. Last time we saw Mace Windu, he was being electrocuted by the Emperor and got his hand cut off by Anakin Skywalker, and then he flung out the window into Coruscant. Now,
why does everyone get their hands cut off?
It's a theme in Star Wars. It's a theme. It's the theme throughout, you know? So whether or not this fan theory was going to gain any traction to be featured in the current canon, which includes films, comics, novels, television series, etc., is yet to be seen. But like I said, it is one that is gaining traction and people are talking about right now. Now, for me, I bring this up because I've said this theory a long time ago. There are two characters that are presumed dead in the Star Wars universe that I feel are not dead. One is Bail Organa, because yes, everyone thinks he died on Alderaan, but let's be honest, okay? We talk sci-fi, we talk fantasy, we talk superheroes, and I've watched enough movies, TV, read comic books to know if you don't see them die, there's a chance they're still alive. And even if you see them die, chances are they'll still come back.
Up. Why would he have gone? If he wasn't dead, why would he have hidden?
But let's remember
they didn't book the planet to kill him. So, you know what I mean?
That's true, but he could. Who says he was on the planet?
That's I know, but I'm saying, why would he not have made himself his presence known?
Maybe he did.
To Leia?
Yeah. Maybe he did.
I just don't see why he would not have.
Okay, well, let's remember, first off, there's 3 years between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And we're still filling in that gaps as well. Then there's 30 years between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of story to tell.
Yeah, but in Bloodline, she talks about losing her father. I think Bail Organa's dead.
Okay, well, I like
because I just don't see why he wouldn't have said to her.
I want to see Jimmy Smits come back.
Well, I'm just saying, if you've read Bloodline, I think based on the things that she says in Bloodline, she never saw him again. And if he hadn't died on Alderaan, I'm 100% certain he would have made contact with her.
Did it for the greater good. He kept himself secret.
What greater good?
I don't know. I'm sure he had some plan.
You are just drawing at straws. I think the Mace Windu being alive is more likely.
Okay, exactly. That's my second one. Bail Organa and Mace Windu, for years now, I think they're both still alive. Mace Windu, let's not forget, he was arguably the second most powerful Jedi in the galaxy, next to Yoda, okay? If many Jedi can, fall from great distances. I mean, Anakin jumped out of a flying car to find another car. And let's not forget how many flying cars are going around Coruscant at that time. He could have flung out the window and within 2 seconds could have went to a car. Sure, he might have been badly injured, but again, he's a powerful Jedi. He could easily be alive, and I think he is. I don't think he's going to pop up in any of the movies. I think he'll pop up maybe in like Rebels or some other book or something along those lines. Just like my hope that Ahsoka Tano is still alive, and I would like to see her pop up in the time frame between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
I do think she's still alive.
I think she's still I mean, people are going to argue about that last shot in season 2 of Rebels, and Dave Filoni says that he's done with Ahsoka as far as Rebels concerned, but if you...
Which is a shame, because she's awesome.
Did you listen to... You didn't listen to Jedi
No, I
Council
didn't
last...
listen
Yeah,
to last
Collider's Jedi Council, of course, their prevailing theory is that Ahsoka will be featured in a film whenever Dave Filoni gets his chance to do it live action film.
I think that'd be awesome, because Ahsoka... I'm looking forward to her book.
He created that character. You know, he's been with that character the whole time. He has a lot of love for that character, so I agree with that. But I want to... Like I said, I want to see Ahsoka pop up and meet Luke. That's my kind of dream wish in that instance. So Mace Windu, like I said, powerful Jedi. I think he's still alive. I don't think we're going to see him in a film. I don't think we're going to see Samuel L. Jackson play him again. But I think there's a good chance, you know, a lot less powerful people have survived less. I mean, for God's sakes, Boba Fett allegedly survived the Sarlacc pit. So why can't Mace Windu survive a little fall? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So
could be. It's not that far-fetched.
So do you think there's a good chance?
I don't necessarily think there's a good chance, but I can see it happening. I don't see what it would matter, because I don't see where he would pop back up.
You don't know. You never know. There's got to be a good story with him somewhere. Again, old Jedi meets up with young Jedi to mentor or give them some piece of wisdom and stuff like that. I mean,
I just think we keep in a universe that was supposed to have no more Jedi. We keep finding more Jedi. I think that's like kind of weird. Like, why would they not have? I don't know. I just don't think it's like...
Because he went into hiding. Okay, so let's jump off Star Wars. All right, and let's get into something that you're going to talk about probably for the rest of the time, is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. All right, so tying into the upcoming release of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, a new story of the Wizarding World set 70 years before the events of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was released on Pottermore by author J.K. Rowling, and it talks about the origins of the Ilvermorny, North American...
Ilvermorny.
Okay. And which is the North American version of Hogwarts School. Now, to complement this new tale, is also a quiz on Pottermore to sort you into your North American wizarding house, so to speak. Much like how Pottermore has the Hogwarts sorting, you can get sorted into the Ilvermorny School in their houses as well. Now, the tale of this new school is got a little video, but there's also the official story, right?
Well, the video is like, it's basically like a trailer for the story that explains how Ilvermorny was developed, how it came to be.
So the story is...
I read the story, though, yes.
Okay, so the Irish woman named Isolde Sayre, is that how you say it?
Isolde
Sayre take place in the 17th century.
She came over on the Mayflower.
After enduring the death of her parents and torment at the hands of her aunt from an early age, she stole a wand and fled to America aboard the Mayflower. Her friend and two previous unheard-of magical creatures set her on a new path. And like you said, the story can be read on Pottermore, as well as you can be sorted into your house.
It's not a very long story either.
It's not a long story either, and that includes, the houses are the Horned Serpent, Thunderbird, Puckwudgie. That's the one I can't.
I'm not. I think it's probably Puckwudgie.
Puckwudgie. That just sounds.
Puckwudgie.
That just sounds bad. I think it's got to be something else.
Puckwudgie?
And then Wampus. Okay. So before this, Lisa and I hopped on Pottermore. I've been on Pottermore since the site opened.
Well, I haven't been on a long time either because you can't. There's not an app. Pottermore people, where is the app?
You said that last time.
I know, but I'm just saying there needs to be an app so I can play it on my iPad. Anyway, I haven't been on the Pottermore website in a long time either.
Like I went and I got sorted into my Hogwarts house, and then I stopped doing it because I didn't care anymore. I really didn't. So now this allowed me to jump back on, but I had a previous email address and a previous password which I no longer use, so I just had to go in and create another account altogether. So now I can go back and get resorted into Hogwarts. Plus, I never got sorted by my wand. So I can sort my wand too and see where that goes. Because that's what you did when you went to Universal, right? Mm-hmm. You tried to pick the wand.
Yeah, well they have. I didn't though. I did not get my wand.
So maybe if I get sorted into my wand when we go back to Universal next year, maybe I'll pick up my wand. Maybe. Probably not. I'm probably going to buy a lightsaber instead. So, because we're going to Star Wars. Anyway, okay. Wait, we're going to Harry Potter. That's right. All right, so... I got sorted. I watched a little bit. I liked the video actually though because I didn't read the story. So I'm gonna hand it over to you. What did you think of the story?
I thought it was interesting. I mean, I think it completely fits that she would do this now because with Fantastic Beasts taking us to the U.S., there's obviously a wizarding school in the U.S., and I am imagining that in this movie, he's going to be making a lot of contact with, American wizards and the American... It's not the wizarding... it's not the Ministry of Magic in the U.S., but whatever the American version of that is. He's going to be having contact, so I'm sure discussion of the American wizarding school would be coming up. So, it totally makes sense that she would write the story that creates that house or that school and the houses and whatever. And I think it's really interesting.
The story sounds interesting. Yeah, I like it.
So it's a short story, and spoilers, just read it. It only takes like 10 minutes. Anyway, but the most interesting thing about the Hogwarts, or the Ilvermorny is, so the girl, the Isolde Sayre, who flees from Ireland, so her aunt is raising her. And her aunt is something with a G. Do you have her name?
No, I don't have her name here. No.
It's like Grimold or something. It's a weird. It sounds like an evil person. But her last name is Gaunt. So she is a descendant of Salazar Slytherin.
Oh,
so
really?
Isolde Sayre is a descendant of Salazar Slytherin. And the wand that she steals from her aunt when she leaves is Salazar Slytherin's wand.
What's a Slytherin? Okay.
It's his wand.
Okay.
So the coolest thing about the story is that it really ties it even back into Hogwarts, because the reason that one of the houses in the Ilvermorny school is the Horned Serpent is because that's the one that she chooses, because she meets a Horned Serpent, and the Horned Serpent helps her, sensing that she has that in her blood. And in the story, the Horned Serpent is what allows her to create wands for the two little wizarding boys that she saves and that she raises as her own in the story.
Yeah.
So she and her husband actually create wands from the horn of this Horned Serpent for their there's two little boys that they save in the story who are wizards. It's before they have magical power. They weren't wizards yet. And then they have their own kids, but she marries a Muggle, or in the American they're not called Muggles, but anyway, I think it's
something different.
They're called nomads.
No, okay, yes, nomads, yes.
But I think it's interesting that that the American school also has like a Slytherin-like house, although it's not like Slytherin in that the story says that the American Wizarding School is like the least of all the schools in the world. It's like the one that has least emphasis on like your lineage and it's the most accepting and.
Makes sense.
It's the one that
Americans were all about immigration, or we used to be anyway. At least.
But I just think it's really cool that wand was Slytherin's wand, and that she is a descendant of Slytherin, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat how J.K. Rowling did that.
One thing I like most about it is the fact that this is completely something new that really has nothing to do with Harry Potter, the character.
No.
I like how we're expanding the wizarding world. And now, like I said, we've got a whole new character. This Isolde. I'm going to say it wrong. Sorry. But she is now like the center, of that. I think I didn't read it, of course, but I watched the video and just watching the video for it. I'm just like, I want to know the story. I want to see this story. I want to see her journey. It sounds very interesting.
It even in just this 10-minute story, this story could totally be a film. It could be a full
That's what I'm
film.
saying. I want to.
It totally could be, because there's even the epic battle at the end. There's love. It's.
Do you think Rowling's going to try to at one point expand on it?
I don't know, but this would be a good movie.
I wonder how they're gonna. I wonder if they're gonna mention any how they're gonna tie all this in to Fantastic Beasts. I know it's just to help set up the American magical world, but I'm curious if maybe the wand or something has some ties to Fantastic Beasts.
Well, Slytherin's wand won't, because in the story it gets deactivated at the end.
Okay.
And it doesn't ever work.
How do you deactivate a wand?
Well, it's something about how Slytherin had it when his wand was made for him. He had basically, if you can speak Parseltongue, there's something that you can say to the wand that puts it kind of in sleep mode. And the person who, as that wand is handed down through generations, that person tells the next person how to do that. Mm-hmm. Well, Isolde does not speak Parseltongue, but her aunt does. And so her aunt, when she comes back to try to avenge and get her back, she puts the wand basically to sleep. But then she ends up dying. They kill her. They win. And the wand never wakes back up because Isolde doesn't speak Parseltongue.
But not to say that someone who does speak Parseltongue
they would have to. But they would have to know how to do it, and the last person who knew was killed.
No, doesn't mean she didn't tell anybody else. I'm just saying there's ways around it. You said when they killed it, it didn't kill it. They put it to sleep. Okay, which means it's gonna wake up. I don't know. That's my. It goes back to my whole thing. Nothing's really dead until you see it die. Okay. All right. So jumping off into some more Harry Potter news. According to director David Yates, who is directing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, J.K. Rowling has actually already finished the story for the sequel to Fantastic Beasts Where to Find Them and has actually gotten ideas for the third one. Now, Yates filmed the last 4 Harry Potter films, and he said the nice thing about this story as far as Fantastic Beasts and the movies that are to come is that they're not based off any novels. Rowling is writing all of them in movie form, so they're not leaving anything out, so to speak. All those things that you were upset about that they left out from the books, they're not leaving anything out. Whatever J.K. Rowling is writing is allegedly supposed to be in the movie because she's writing them specifically for the movie. So they said that these new movies were going to be a trilogy. Looks like Rowling is working away on all of them. Does this get you more excited for the film now, knowing that she really has that long-term plan kind of all mapped out?
I was sure that she did. She wouldn't have written this first screenplay if she didn't already have the plan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when she started writing Harry Potter, she knew how it was going to end. I mean, she changed things, little details along the way, but she has a master plan.
Mm-hmm.
This is her world, and anything that she writes for it, I'm excited for.
Yeah. So makes you more excited for the movie, or no?
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I mean, how about after reading all the stuff having to do with Ilvermorny? Does that get you more excited for the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I need to get back on Pottermore, which is why I wish there was an app.
Well, she's pushing it, guys. She really is. We need to send this to somebody to let them know to make an app for Pottermore, perhaps. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, more movies. This is nothing that I'm surprised about, or I'm sure I'm sure she gets daily dump trucks of money, dumped on her lawn to be like, keep writing. So nothing new to me. So.
Yeah, but unlike some people who get dump trucks of money, she does lots of good things with her money.
She does, exactly, which is why they keep giving her money, because she's like, oops, I'm all out of money. I guess you better give me some more.
Right.
All right, so let's jump off Harry Potter into a couple just side stories to wrap it all up here. Netflix has announced they are doing a remake to the 1960s TV show Lost in Space. They've ordered 10 episodes. Prison Break. There, I said it right finally. Alumni Zach Estrin will serve as the showrunner. Now, Vice President of Netflix Cindy Holland told Variety, quote, "The current creative team's reimagining of the series for Netflix is sure to appeal to both fans who fondly remember the original and to create a new generation of enthusiasts around the world." Lost in Space originated as a TV series on CBS that lasted from 1965 to 1968. The original series followed the Robinson family, a crew of explorers who were stranded in space. Now, the franchise also spawned a critically panned film in 1998 that starred Matt LeBlanc, William Hurt, and Gary Oldman. The Lost in Space remake on Netflix has yet to be given a release date, but I'm a little excited about it. Are you excited at first at all? Did you see?
No, I have zero interest in the story.
Did you? I'm sure you probably didn't see the original TV series. Did you see the movie at all?
Nope.
You didn't see the movie, man? I mean, I liked the movie. It had a strong cast to it. It wasn't the best, but I think for its time, it was pretty good, pretty entertaining, in my opinion. I've seen the old TV series, and it's it's a 60s TV series, so to say that its corniness is putting it lightly. In any event, I'm anxious to see this story with updated storytelling and updated graphics and all that hoopla, especially given on Netflix. Netflix has done great series. Of course, I can't say enough about the Marvel series such as Daredevil. I love Voltron. That's nothing. I haven't talked on our break. I haven't talked about Voltron either. so disappointed. I want to talk about Voltron. Somebody come on here and talk to me about Voltron. I want to rewatch it too, actually. Since I feel like I rushed through it, I want to go back and rewatch it. Anyway, Netflix does a really good job with their series. They've got some original movies that just came out too. One of them starring Paul Rudd that I know you want to check out, and a few others that I think will be really good. Do you see there's a trailer for one with Ellen Page and Alice Janney coming out or whatever?
Allison
Janney, yeah. That, like, you should check out the trailer.
They were both in Juno.
Yeah, it looks really cool actually too. So anyway, Lost in Space coming up. I'm kind of excited for it. Lisa does not care at all.
Nope.
But maybe once the trailer comes out, maybe I can get her to get excited about it. We'll just have to wait and see. So jumping off to something else that I'm sure she's not excited about. Screen Gems and Lakeshore Entertainment has announced that they are pushing back their next Underworld film, Underworld Blood Wars, a couple months. Originally, the film was supposed to come out this year on October 14th, and they have pushed it back to January 13th, 2017. Kate Beckinsale is set to return again as Celine, the vampire assassin. Meanwhile, she's going to be rejoined by Theo James, who plays Celine's ally, David. Anna Forrester is going to be directing the film, who previously directed episodes of the television series Criminal Minds and Outlander, and is widely known for her work as a cinematographer in blockbuster films such as Independence Day, The Day After Tomorrow, and White House Down. All of those are Roland Emmerich films. I just realized that too. So there you go. So, new Underworld coming out. I think we've talked about this before. Neither of us are really too excited about it just because of how Underworld Awakening was so kind of a dud, really. To continue that storyline, just don't care at all. But I will say it is kind of nice to have it pushed back to January because that's when the other Underworld movies I know have come out, I believe, around January, February, right?
I have no idea.
I remember correctly, that's when all the other ones have come out. So to put in that time slot makes sense, in my opinion. To me, what's wrong with this franchise is while they do have Kate Beckinsale back, they don't have Scott Speedman back.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of the thing about the last movie that was so weird is that, like...
They try to keep the character in there.
but not there.
And, like, at the end of that, they, like, said that he escaped that facility. So, like, they were leaving it open, like, he'd come back. But he's not coming back for this one that we know of. And, because that's the thing I liked was the first couple Underworld films was their relationship and their storyline. And Awakening got away from that because... Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why Scott Speedman doesn't want to be in the films. I don't know if they just didn't ask him, but what the hell is he doing besides this? I mean...
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't even seen him in anything, really. He was in that, there was a TV show, like, about the submarine that got canceled. They got canceled on ABC. Then it got moved to TNT, and I think it got canceled on TNT. So, why he's not doing it, I don't know. But
I don't know.
In any event, Underworld, coming up, pushed back a couple months. Whatever, you know, you and I both like the first three films.
Yeah, I mean, I like the first and the third better than the second, but I like the one with the Lycans. Rise of the Lycans, I think is my favorite, but
okay. Which
I know for some people that is not their favorite, but I really liked Rise of the Lycans.
Oh, we totally forgot, skipped it. Exactly what house we got sorted into.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
we both were Wampus, right?
Wampus, yes. So in the Ilvermorny school, we both got sorted into the Wampus house, which is actually considered to represent the body of a witch or wizard, and is also said that the Wampus favor warriors. To me, that was kind of surprising for you.
It's about the body.
That's body. Why. I mean, what do you mean, like?
Like, if you read the description, it says that they favor the body. It's like about... and I put like in my thing like, you know, healing.
A magical panther-like creature that was fast, strong, and almost impossible to kill. Well, that's pretty much me, so, you know, that makes sense. But, I don't know, just, you know, when we did the Hogwarts one, you and I got sorted into different houses.
What was your Hogwarts house?
Mine was, it's not Slytherin, it's not Ravenclaw, it's...
Gryffindor?
Not Gryffindor, what's the fourth one?
You got put in Hufflepuff?
Yes, that was Hufflepuff, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what it was, yes. Although, I don't know, I'll go back and retake the quiz. Maybe I'll get sorted into something else.
It's a new quiz now, it's different.
There
it's
we
more
go.
Similar to this
so
one.
Maybe I'll get sorted into
I know, I almost...
No, I was in Slytherin. I got sorted in Slytherin.
Well, I guess I think you're just making shit up now.
No, I'm not.
You have to go get resorted. Yeah, I had it recall my old one, so I'm kind of curious now. Maybe I'll use my new email address, my other one,
to get resorted.
And do it again and just see with this new quiz if I'd get sorted into the same house.
Perhaps. But yeah, I totally forgot. We have to mention that earlier. So there we go. Go on to Pottermore and take the quiz, see which house you're going to get sorted into. All right, so moving on. Just a couple more things to run through. This one was kind of interesting, really, although not really surprising given the parameters of it. But what is it? Box Office Mojo came out with their updated list of the top actors and actresses and earners, and it said that Scarlett Johansson is the top actress, our highest grossing actress of all time. She hit number 10 on the all-time list. She's been featured in films such as Avengers: Age of Ultron, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Iron Man 2, The Jungle Book, and Lucy. She is the top female to be on the list. She even goes ahead of some actors such as Chris Evans, who's number 48, and Leonardo DiCaprio, who's at 42, and Will Smith at 24. And of course, then there's Matt Damon at number 20, and she beat all those guys. Now
That's because she's been in so many Avengers films.
We're going to get there again. Now the top 5 on Box Office Mojo's list. Number 1 came up Harrison Ford, whose films have raked in $4.87 billion domestically. Second was Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, it's because he's in everything.
Third, Morgan Freeman.
Also in everything.
Fourth, Tom Hanks. And then fifth, Robert Downey Jr. So, looking at the list, like you said, Scarlett Johansson, she's been in the big Marvel franchise films. And that's pretty...
She doesn't necessarily have huge roles in all those films.
She hasn't starred in
small roles in lots of high budget, like high money making films.
Exactly. So it's not like she's the reason her movies have made so much money.
Right. I agree. Like, I mean, you think about it, like Jungle Book. She had a very small role in
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book was an amazing movie and it made money, but like she was not the reason why people went to see the Jungle Book. Yeah. But same thing, all these different Avengers movies. You know, she's in like all of them. Mm-hmm. She's in all, she's in the Iron Man ones. She's in the Captain America ones. She's in the, you know what I mean? Like she's tucked into all of them. So all the money that all of them make, she gets credit for it.
Yeah, exactly. So then, of course, looking at the top 5, are you surprised by any of the top 4? Harrison Ford, Jackson Freeman.
I'm surprised that Robert Downey Jr. is in the top 5.
Oh, he's been in the Iron Man movies and the Avengers movies. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's in there.
Yeah, he's like her. He's in a lot.
He's in there for the same reason that she's in there. Mm-hmm. Although he actually starred in those movies, so as opposed to just had a small role. Mm-hmm. Morgan Freeman, it's weird that he's kind of in there.
He's in a lot of movies.
I feel like him and Tom Hanks are the actors that really have the, I don't want to put this the wrong way, have the talent to be in that top 5. I mean, because Harrison Ford is in those franchise movies. Mm-hmm. Indiana Jones, and Star Wars. That's why he's in there. Samuel L. Jackson, like you said.
He's in everything,
which is why he's in there. Morgan Freeman and Tom Hanks, they don't really do the big franchise films, but they're in a lot of good movies that have good results.
And you got to think, too, Morgan Freeman's been acting for a really freaking long time. So, I mean, you think about Driving Miss Daisy. I mean, he's been acting for a long time.
Yes, Miss Daisy.
I mean, I can't even imagine what his filmography looks like.
Gosh, that'd be probably pretty long. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you that. All right, cool. All right, so, anything else you want to talk about on that? No? I wonder what the second biggest female was since she was number 1. I'll go back and look at that and see. But all right, so last story of the day. We'll make it quick. Pixar president Jim Morrison came out to announce the next couple of films coming out by Pixar, and most of them are going to be sequels. We got Cars 3 coming up, The Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, and then the original film Kojo comes out in 2017. Now, Mr. Morris went on to say, however, the following films after these next couple of years are said to be all original properties, no more sequels. He went on to say, quote, "Most studios jump on doing a sequel as soon as they have a successful film. But our business model is a filmmaker model, and we don't want a sequel unless the director of the original film has an idea that they like and are willing to go forward. Everything after Toy Story and The Incredibles is an original film right now. Our plan had been to make an original every other year and a sequel every other year. So it's penciled out to be the same portfolio, just not in the order we originally thought it would be." So there you go. Pixar coming out with original material. They just released Finding Dory, which was a sequel to Finding Nemo. But they said that after these next couple sequels they're coming out with, it's all going to be original content, which I like that idea, mainly because I'm getting the sequels that I want. Incredible 2, Toy Story 4, the ones that I feel like are worthy of a sequel, we're getting those. So for them to come out with original content, I think will be good. And this one coming out, Kojo, I think looks good.
I haven't seen it. I haven't heard anything
It's
about it.
the Rock is doing one of the voices, and he's
going to be in that list soon. He's in everything too.
Right, he's in everything too. But it's like a Hawaiian theme to it, and at the end, it kind of surprised where he's kind of like a funny kind of crazy guy, but at the end he turns into like a bird, and you're like, okay, I thought this was just going to be like a simple Hawaiian history movie, and then he turns into some magical creature. I'm like, whoa! Kind of flips it on the edge a little bit. So kind of excited for that one. Pixar, always known for its great quality of films, but they have doing a lot of sequels lately, especially with the Cars movies. Why are they doing Cars 3? Why are they doing... I mean, I didn't see Cars 2.
I didn't either.
But, I mean, I guess I get why they're doing it, because the toys make money, and I get that. But Cars, for me, wasn't one of my favorite Pixar films. I didn't think it needed a sequel. Incredibles definitely needed a sequel, and we waited way too long for that. So I'm just glad we're getting that, hopefully. I don't know. Anyway, so new Pixar movie's coming. Sounds cool to me. Sounds cool to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting what he was saying, how they didn't put out sequels right now because they wanted to make sequels. Like, he said that if the person who created the original story comes to them and says, I have this great idea for a story, it's with the same characters from my last film, if it's a good story, then they make it. They don't set out to make sequels. I thought that was interesting how they said.
Or in case of Brad Bird, Tomorrowland tanked, so he better do Incredibles 2.
I don't think that's exactly how it went down.
It's got something to do with it, trust me. It does. So, alright, so yeah, more Pixar movies coming. Excited about that, especially since the last original one we got was Inside Out, which was amazing. That movie was really good. So they never do bad movies. I mean, there's some that have kind of puttered a little bit, but again, I haven't seen Cars 2. That's probably not the best, but I'm sure it's not horrible.
I mean, I like the original Cars movie. I didn't see Cars 2. But
I mean, I know you hit me this a lot, but I'm not a big fan of Finding Nemo, actually, which is why I'm not a fan of Finding... I'm not excited to go see Finding Dory, because I wasn't that big of a fan of Finding Nemo, but I won't. Alright guys, well that is it for our return episode. If you have any questions or comments, want to talk about some of the things we talk about, hit us up, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on our Facebook group or on Twitter. Let us know what house you got sorted into. Go to Pottermore, sort into your house, tell us what you got. Let us know what you think about the Mace Windu theories and the Star Trek trailer as well. See if you're excited for that. And of course, let us know about your feelings on the Great Superman Returns debate. Did you like it? Are there things you did like about it? Where do you fall?
Don't chime in on that, because he's just going to tell you that you're wrong.
I'm going to correct you and let you know why it's a good film, okay? That's part of the thing of this, right?
No.
Anyway, hit us up online on social media. Let us know. You can find me personally on Instagram and Twitter at Slim, SLYM, Dayspring12. Anything else you want to talk about before we leave? You want to talk more Harry Potter?
No, I'm good for now.
No, this girl, okay, so I tell her, I set her up with the trailer for Pottermore, and then I set her up for the trailer for Star Trek. I come back several minutes later, and she's clicked into other links going off into more Harry Potter stuff, and
I love Harry Potter.
And you're going to go back and watch those stuff too, aren't you?
Of course I am.
Now that you found this.
I am not ashamed to say I love Harry Potter.
All right,
I love those stories. I love them.
Everything about it. You just absorb.
I do. It's such an amazing world that she's created. I love it. I want to be a part of it. I enjoy reading all the stories that she has to offer. I can't wait to see to get to read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And
that comes out at the end of the month.
Yeah, if I didn't have so many things I was reading right now, I would start doing my yearly dose of Harry Potter books.
Sure.
But I have so many books right now that I want to read. I don't have time. But I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We really need to get Nora that T-shirt where it's like, my dad goes to Jedi Academy and my mom goes to Hogwarts. Mm-hmm. Definitely need to get her that shirt.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, all right, guys. Well, that is it for us. Like I said, chime in. Let us know what you think. Until next time, may the Force be with us all.